Welcome to Access a Trader, the #1 community for those who are committed to taking control of their trading in order to achieve success, profitability, and longevity. Thank you for joining us. Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good morning everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AccessATrader.com weekend update show. Hope everybody is doing well, having a good start to the weekend. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Busy day, always a busy day in the life of a parent, especially with teenagers. So hopefully everybody is doing well. Kindly guys, take a second out. It'll really mean a lot to me. Just click a like on the video, share, subscribe. Come aboard, right? Come aboard if you are enjoying what we're doing. Subscribe to the channel, and hopefully, again, I can continue to provide value. So, never a dull moment, right? I think that's the best way of saying it. Never a dull moment when you're dealing with the greatest reality show that's not on television. Again, I've always maintained that this channel, okay, it is not for the investor. The idea that if I'm liking a stock one week and then it technically breaks down the other week, that's all that matters to me. Okay. I don't care about its fundamentals. I don't know what the stock is going to do 3 weeks from now, 3 days from now, 3 years from now. I don't want to hear about CapEx spending and, multiples and, all that stuff. It's irrelevant, right? If you're an active trader, and if I have to guess, right, of all the market participants on the planet, I would probably guess that the market participant percentage is less than 10%. These are active traders around the world that are in a position to be buyers or sellers or kind of be delta neutral at any point of the year. And it's a very, very small selective group. So I understand where the retail and the general investing public is coming from. I get it. I understand when you're going through euphoria, because there's a good chance, well, we're going through euphoria as well. And I understand when you are going through uneasy time of the tape, because the market is probably weak and it's starting to put a little bit of fear. And again, with the history of the market, there's always been a lot of bumps in the road, right? But the ultimate goal for the shareholders and investors or even active traders are just be around, right? Be around till you catch that next wave, whatever your time frame is. And so far, it's been kind of wild, right? It's kind of been a kind of wild first month of the year. Again, this is going to be a kind of a sign, a clue of what's the things to come for the rest of 2025. Again, that's to be determined, but the month ends, the first month in the books on NASDAQ, the QQQ's up a little over 2%. This is despite the whole rattling of the cages from DeepSeek, claims that they can, outperform all the major heavy hitters, especially in the United States, in the AI arms race. Initially, they claimed they could do this for $5-6 million. And then word spread, it turned into $500-600 million. And we don't know, right? Like I even talked about in the first day, we don't know. Again, who could really take anything seriously that comes out of China? Again, they're constantly manipulating the narrative, manipulating the numbers. It's been just this whole history of what Chinese, what the Chinese are all about. Again, it's just reality. It's not something that I'm just coming up with out of thin air. So the market kind of, shook that off a little bit, right? Shook it off. We had an 1,100 point drop earlier in the week, and the NASDAQ rallied and then went higher, right? And next thing, you started feeling these pandemic vibes, right? You guys started feeling these really big waves of what we felt in the pandemic. If you guys remember, March of 2020, we got hit with the pandemic, right? Everything closed down. Everybody was locked down for a couple of weeks. It was the worst March ever, right? At least it felt like that. Worst March ever. And then followed by the best April ever. So we started getting that vibe, right? We started getting that pandemic vibe a day or two after, that initial 1,000 point drop pre-market. And we were like, all right, everything's okay, right? Everything's okay. Earnings are out. Earnings so far are looking pretty good. And again, we'll discuss this all of a sudden in a few minutes. And the next thing you know, we always had this one thing hanging over our head. Well, the Feb 1st tariffs were still out there. We're still looming, and nobody was talking about them, right? Everybody knew it was there, but nobody was talking about them. So we had this really good rally from Wednesday to Thursday into Friday. Friday, everything was ripping. You had Google breaking out. You had Tesla, about to go absolutely berserk. You had NVIDIA reclaiming 2 levels, started moving back higher. Really good day on Friday. So I logged off, around lunchtime, right? A great morning, absolutely great morning, really good week. NVIDIA, when the video went nuts, and then this one that nuts, and Google and Tesla and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, all right, I'm done. Like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do for the rest of the day? I'm exhausted. Let me take a half a day off. We'll see what happens next week. And then next thing you know, I look, I'm in the gym, I look down on my phone and I see the market just imploding, just absolutely imploding. The Feb 1st deadline for tariffs. Trump basically said, hey, as of Feb 1st, which is Saturday morning, which is today, we are going to impose a 25% tariff on Mexico, a 25% tariff on Canada, and a 10% tariff on China for the fentanyl, right? For the illegal fentanyl that's coming into this country, killing a lot of people. Yeah, this is happening. And the next thing you know, I'm guessing this was around 2 o'clock, right? This was around 2 o'clock. I'm guessing around 1, 2 o'clock. The market just started tanking, just absolutely tanking. Keep this in mind. We do about $1.6 trillion worth of annual business with these 3 countries. So this is obviously used as a bargaining chip for potential down the road foreign policy issues. But yeah, this is happening. So as of right now, it's about 9:30 in the morning, Saturday Eastern time. The tariffs are into play, right? They're alive, they're kicking. And now the question is, what happens next? And the one mistake I made was, once I heard the tariff news come out, a buddy of mine texted me and he goes, what do you think? Should we go short over the weekend? I was like, I don't know. Cause this is just like, again, this is the initial red light for the tariffs. Who knows? I think there's too much risk, too much uncertainty over the weekend that they could get a deal done with Mexico. They could get a deal done with China. They could get a deal done with Canada, or at least preliminary talks, and the market just explodes back on Monday. And as I'm sitting there, and it's like, as I'm sitting there, I'm having this whole conversation. I'm like, oh, damn, maybe we really should be short over the weekend. Maybe we should really be short over the weekend. And I just came to the conclusion. I was like, you know what? I want to relax and enjoy my weekend. I don't want to think about this all weekend. And there's just too many days, right? Too many days the market's closed that get really impact. And again, the biggest impact you have is not in the intraday cycles. It's overnight, especially when you have a macro geopolitical cloud of horror potentially over the market. So I made a decision. I made a decision around 2:30, 3 o'clock. You know what? I want to go flat over the weekend. And the next thing I know, the Qs were down $3 after the close. Everything's getting slammed. And I was like, but here's the key, right? Here's the key. The key is, as an adult, right? As an adult in general, I'm not even talking about a trader. As an adult in general, we make decisions all the time. What to feed our kids, what schools they go to, right? Our health, our happiness, our parenting, our marriage commitments, all this. We make choices. When we make choices, and we need to live with these choices. The worst thing you can do is make a choice that your heart is not completely in it, that you don't have complete conviction in that choice. And that goes with trading. Okay. If I don't love a setup, I don't do it. Okay. I don't need to look at a setup and go, it looks okay. Right. If you're going into trading going, it looks okay. Guess what? You might make money and you might lose money. There's no conviction. When there's a channel that I love and option flow is going that direction, they're pounding it over and over and over again. That's what she said. Right. I get very, very aggressive and I go into it all in, right? I go on all in mentally because all the data is telling me so. So yes, I'm going to regret it. The market, if there is no news, again, remember, it's only 9:30 in the morning on Saturday. By the time you're watching this broadcast, they can get a deal done and the market gaps up 1,000 points on Monday. Again, that's where I was trying to avoid But on this surface, assuming they don't get the deal done, I know I'm going to be nauseous and knowing that I should have been short over the weekend. But again, I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with the choices. And again, anything you do is supposed to be 100% all in, all in your heart, or don't do it at all. Again, you can't be a little bit pregnant, so be very, very mindful of that. Here's the most important part, right? You can go 3,000 different publications, 1 million people talking about it on social media, and get the details of this tariffs. Is Bitcoin going to be affected by it? So far, it's holding up. So far, I think last time I checked, I think Bitcoin was like 102,000. So it's not really being affected just yet, right? It's not really being affected just yet. I read that it could have a little bit of exposure. Right now, it's 102,000, holding up fairly well. But energy is obviously exposed to this. The semiconductors are obviously exposed to this, and obviously the whole tech sector, just because again how much exposure we have, especially to China. So that my goal here today is not to talk about the macro of what is going to happen from the diplomacy side of it, is for us to get prepared of what's going to happen potentially on the technical side of it. So let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it. So the NASDAQ 100, the QQQs, again, up 2% for January. The line in the sand right now is this whole 50-day moving average. Remember, again, especially if you're a brand new viewer, above the 50 days bullish, right? Once we got back above the 50-day moving average after the DeepSeek day, we had a massive run. Think about this. So above the 50-day moving average in the last 3 days, the Qs went from 518 all the way up to 532. Again, that's the power of directional bias over a major supply zone like a 50-day moving average. So the key for Monday is, in case we do have a sell-off, and that's kind of what it starts to appear to me, we need to stay above 17. Okay, we need to stay above 517, because if we close below 517 on the QQQs, then again, you have your next support is 512 and followed by 507, 503. Again, look what happened the last time we lost the 50-day moving average, right? We went from 517 all the way down to 499.70. So again, over 50 bullish, below the 50 bearish. Again, 517 now becomes a major, absolutely major line in the sand going into next week. So let's talk about some individual names. Apple reported, right? The initial earnings reaction on Apple was actually pretty good, despite, again, weak sales coming out of China. And the most important part was when we talked about Thursday morning, and again, congratulations for a lot of you guys who took the 50-day reclaim after hours when Apple reported earnings. The key was for Apple to get back above the 50-day. You see this light blue line. So after hours, it got back above the 50-day, and Apple was up 10 points. 10 points come Friday morning. So everything was good. Everything was ripping. Even the video was ripping. Again, we caught a great pivot on the video, really good pivot in Google, some other places as well. So everything was very, very strong. And slowly but surely, people realized, well, wait a minute. Well, Apple's going to have some exposure to potential things coming out of China, right? Again, if Chinese sales are weak and they're demonstrating that on their forecast, well, maybe it's not a good idea. And Apple just started, literally, there wasn't a green candle till after hours on Apple. Apple was up about $11 pre-market and just literally gave it all back. Not good. Not only did it give back the whole earnings, it gave back the 50-day moving average, and it stopped right at the bottom of the range, protecting the 5-day. If Apple starts losing the 5-day moving average, well, all of this is in its future, because again, the last time Apple lost the 50-day moving average was on January the 10th, and Apple went from 240 all the way to 219 in a matter of 6 trading days. So yes, this close on Apple below the 50-day is super important. So again, if it starts losing the bottom of this channel here, it should go lower. So obviously, again, keep an eye on Apple. Google had a great breakout, really good breakout on Friday. And it actually held the majority of its gains. We talked about Google for the last couple of days. Beautiful move, finally took out the December highs. Like I said, it kind of mirrored, we'll get to the pivots in a second. It kind of mirrored the Amazon breakout. Beautiful day. It just unfortunately broke out at the wrong day because the afternoon really killed it. But awesome breakout on Google. As long as it stays above this 197, 198 area, it's fine. If it starts losing the 198 area, that means the whole market is starting to implode, and that's what you want to kind of avoid. Microsoft had a crappy quarter, right? That's the best way of saying it. Had a crappy quarter, gapped up just like everything else Friday morning because of Apple. Got rejected at the 20-day supply. Congratulations for all you guys who shorted the 20-day supply on Friday in the 120.60s. Perfect, absolutely perfect fade. And now we are watching the bottom of the range. This thing starts losing its earnings lows. Microsoft is going to get hit. Tesla, right? Tesla had no heartbeat for 3 weeks, right? No heartbeat for 3 weeks. The earnings weren't great. Nothing was great. But again, in bullish sentiment, it shook off bad news and went higher. And Friday took out a previous day's channel and went higher. And obviously, again, when these tariff news hit the market, nothing was going to get saved. So it got sold off. The key for Tesla is stay back above the 50-day moving average. That's the key right here. The 50-day moving average is roughly around the 398 level. Any close above 398, you got to give the bulls the benefit of the doubt. Any close below 398 violates the 50-day moving average and starts testing the lows back again into the 380. So again, 398 level on Tesla is the line in the sand, especially on a closing basis. Meta had an absolutely godlike run. Absolutely godlike run. If you've been watching this broadcast for 3 weeks, even the last 3 weeks, it finally broke out of the December highs, went on this massive run from 638 all the way to 710. It's getting a little tired. I mean, just like everything else, it's getting a little tired. The key to Meta is hold on to that 5-day on the close. That 5-day on the close is roughly this 676 level, right? That's the rising 5-day, because if it doesn't hold on to the 676 level, it's going to start moving back to the 5-day moving average into the 650. So again, you want to make sure it's holding on to that. AMD, look, I have nothing against AMD. I really don't. I don't have anything against any stock, okay? But this stock is starting to get to that point that if you're thinking about buying it, literally buy anything else. Literally buy anything else. The only two stocks I could actually say that about right now for the last couple of years has been GameStop and has been AMC. Okay. And again, I'm not putting AMD in the same category, obviously, as GameStop or an AMC, but it's starting to get to that point. And again, you guys know this. I'm not breaking any news here, but we're starting to get to that point that like AMC, it's like anytime the semis are strong, well, why buy AMD? Buy NVIDIA, right? If the semis are strong, why buy AMD? Buy Avago. If the semis are strong, why buy AMD? Buy ARM, for example. So something has to give here. They're coming out with earnings on Tuesday, right? They're coming out with earnings on Tuesday. Hopefully they come out with a good quarter. If you're a shareholder, hopefully they come out with a good quarter. And kind of surprise things. Because as of right now, again, this is a perfect example when a stock loses the 50-day moving average. This is one of the very few technology names that are still below the 50-day moving average. Again, I'm not breaking any news here. You know, anybody who's long AMD shouldn't be mad at me for breaking the obvious. It's like, again, it's like me looking at ESPN and cursing out the anchor who's telling me the Jets suck. I know the Jets suck. These are facts. So you can see here, AMD lost the 50-day moving average in October, and it's gone from basically 158 all the way down to into the 115 area. So something has to give here. Unfortunately, again, it was a great trading stock for a couple of years and then just kind of died on a vine. So hopefully its earnings will kind of save it for Tuesday. So other than that, look, PLTR has been on a great run. Absolutely godlike run as well. They come out on Monday. Okay, Monday's earnings they report. Usually it wouldn't be a focus of mine, but PLTR has held up incredibly well, has been doing absolutely great despite of a lot of AI names getting tortured recently, the data centers, all that as well. So we'll see. We'll see if this is a scenario of is it priced into the stock already, or does the stock have more room to run? Again, AMD has earnings on Tuesday. Hopefully it'll surprise. Google has earnings on Tuesday as well. Wednesday, Qualcomm, and Thursday we have Amazon, right? Amazon has been acting absolutely amazing. a lot of call buying. They're obviously in a lot of different businesses. AWS is their major cash cow, but we'll see how they react on Thursday's earnings as well. So again, let's see if there's any more developing news over the weekend. As of right now, as of again 9:30 a.m. Saturday morning, the tariffs have gone into play right now. So far, there are no new developments. But again, as the weekend progresses, we could see some sort of dialogue from the White House into these countries to see if they can kind of start eliminating things, or some other diplomacy could potentially start coming into play. So that's it, folks. Crazy, crazy market. But again, if you're an active trader, the market has been really, really good, especially trading within these channels. They're really holding on to levels of organic price discovery, and that's the most important part, and that's all you can ask for as an active intraday trader. Guys, God bless everybody. Have a great, great weekend, and with God's help, I'll see you all on the field on Monday. Take care.